Over what condominium corporations can do in setting regulations around the consumption of pot. Our next guest says that her company has been fielding questions on a daily basis for the past 6 months. Joining us now is Denise Lash. She's the founder of Lash Condo Law. Welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here to talk about cannabis.
What do we know so far? We were talking about this knowing that you were coming up and wondering, can the condos just make up their own rules and regulations surrounding this?
Yeah, so condominium corporations for years enact rules, and the board of directors of condominiums decide what rules to put into place. And rules need to be for the purposes of safety and security of all the residents of the condominium corporation. So the question is, what kind of rules do you need in place for cannabis? This is really the unknown. There's concern about the cultivation of marijuana and whether cultivation should occur in units and what that would mean with mold growth and the odors. So many condominium corporations and pretty much most of our clients are enacting rules that prohibit the cultivation of cannabis.
Okay.
Then the big issue is smoking. Should condominium corporations prohibit smoking of cannabis and tobacco in units? And I think that many have decided to go no smoking, not just in the common areas, but in the units as well.
And they're legally allowed to do this?
Well, until it's challenged, condominium lawyers such as myself are recommending that corporations pass these rules. We think that they are reasonable.
With respect to condos and getting these rules enacted now, I mean, you might have many people who are already living in the condos that are going to fight this as they present these rules.
Yes, so the procedure for doing this is really to circulate the rules to the owners. The owners at that point in time have the ability to vote against it. So they have 30 days, and then they can call their own meeting and vote against it. Most of the rules that we have been drafting will grandfather. That means permit existing smokers.
Okay.
So the real rush now has been to grandfather existing smokers, which can only be either tobacco smokers or medical users. That's why we've been so busy the past 6 months dealing with enacting these rules before cannabis becomes legalized, and then you may have to grandfather recreational users.
Denise, with all of the condo development that has been occurring in this Toronto area, the GTA area, or take anywhere north of Toronto or across the country, how many condos on a percentage basis do you think are really aware that they have to change these rules, enact these rules, grandfather them now versus when it becomes legal?
Well, I think that there are many condominium corporations that are not aware of this, but
that
many
are not aware,
or many are waiting and seeing, because there are generally in condominium documents something called a nuisance rule. And so if something causes a nuisance, you can do something about it. So there are condominiums that are saying, you know what, we're just going to leave it. We're going to wait and see, and we'll see if it creates a nuisance. If it does, then we'll deal with it.
What do you think of that strategy?
Well, we're not recommending that. You know, now's the time to do something about it.
With respect to the new rules coming into play, how are they being received in terms of your clients so far?
We've had some controversial meetings. You know, we have had the requisition meetings. Some corporations are passing these rules and they go into place 30 days and there's no issue.
Okay.
But the ones where the owners have requisitioned a meeting to vote against it, some have been successful and have voted against it.
Why would they be successful?
Well, all they need to do is get a majority to vote against it, and then it's successful, and then the rules do not pass. And I think a lot of the objection has been from owners who are saying, you know what, this is my unit.
Right.
You cannot restrict what I do in my unit.
But then what's so interesting, and maybe this will be the next iteration of this, is the fact that, as you say, if you cultivate, then you could see mold. If you get the smoke through your vents somehow, what would that mean in terms of what individuals inhale? So will that could easily then fall under the nuisance aspect.
Well, that's right. And there's also the Human Rights Code. And I've been recently retained by a woman who has a severe allergy to cannabis, and it's life-threatening. And in that situation, that condominium corporation attempted to pass the rules, and the owners voted against it at a requisition. So now we have owners entitled to smoke cannabis, and an owner who is allergic to it. And in that case, the board is now working towards banning it on the basis of the Human Rights Code, regardless of the rules. So you've got the Human Rights Code where somebody's health is at risk, somebody with a disability, that trumps the Condominium Act.
That's good to know. You must see this just escalating.
Well, there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of the unknown at this point.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Denise, great to meet you and catch up with you on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Denise Lash. She's the founder of Lash Condo Law.